SpongeBob is an icon. Nobody can disagree with that statement. But just like any other famous figure, animated or real, there are both people who love and hate him. Yet in my experience, anybody that grew up in the late 90s through the 2000s seems to have almost the same consensus. SpongeBob is everywhere. This can be seen in today's pop culture, part of millions of memes, is in the middle of his 12th season, and has a third movie in production, and over $13 billion of revenue. But let's go back to the beginning. It all began with a marine biologist named Stephen Hillenburg, who had a passion for both marine life and animation. And while teaching as a marine science educator at the Ocean Institute in Dana Point, California, he decided a great way to use both of his talents was to make an educational comic called The Intertidal Zone. Hillenburg created the comic in 1989. It starred a very early rendition of SpongeBob called Bob the Sponge. This design of the character saw him looking much more realistic and had sunglasses, which does not at all resemble the Sponge we know and love today. This comic caught the attention of Martin Olson, who famously played the Chief in Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 5. But at this point in time, in 1994, he was a writer for the show Rocko's Modern Life. He gave Hillenburg the idea to turn the comic into a cartoon, which was originally called Sponge Boy Ahoy. This later turned into the show that is airing on TV today. I'm not kidding. On the day of writing this, 13 episodes are airing today. That is 6.5 hours of a 20-year-old show. But even though the generation that experienced the original 3-season run of SpongeBob had grown up, the show left an impression on them, which can be seen in the rise of memes. The definition of a meme is an element of a culture or system of behavior that may be considered to be passed from one individual to another by non-genetic means, especially imitation, which in this case, the culture is being shared by the spreading of a humorous image, video, piece of text, etc. that is copied, often with slight variations, and spread rapidly by internet users. When it comes to the internet, SpongeBob could be considered the ruler. Some examples of SpongeBob meme formats are Imagination, I'm a Head Out, Handsome Squidward, SpongeGar, Surprised Patrick, and many, many more. And the forming of the internet's meme culture has extended the life of the show immensely.
I think the new memes that we see in SpongeBob are keeping it alive because each meme is so closely relevant to society.
It's almost as if Stephen Hillenburg had planned all of this out, which is very unlikely, but he just happened to have the right comedic style to allow SpongeBob to become a juggernaut in the media landscape.
I think if SpongeBob existed in like a different timeline in which the internet didn't become what it was, I think it would still have the popularity it has. It maybe wouldn't have the same lasting power that it's gone through, but I do think it would have been as memorable and as popular as it was. Definitely you can see in memes, which I do think are a bit of a cultural indicator, at least for millennials and Generation Z, which is what we are. You can definitely see how frequently people will use an image from SpongeBob or use a line from SpongeBob in a certain voice, and everybody, a lot of people, because so many of us grew up watching the show, everyone will remember those images, those stills from SpongeBob, or remember those lines, and I guess has given us all sort of a generational bond, I would say.
So this brings us all the way back to the present day, and with the passing of Hillenburg on November 26th, 2018, nobody could help but wonder if SpongeBob was going to die with him. But with a remake of the 2003 hit SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom and a third movie on the way, I think it's safe to say that the internet will not let Hillenburg or his happy yellow pal be forgotten.